Hi, Jewish Mom. So last week I put up a post about attending the Shiva of Rebbetzin Henny Machlis, and I wrote about like what a powerful experience it had been. But there was something when I was there, I really had like a bit of a catharsis, very powerful experience, sort of realization, and I wanted to try and share it. And I actually wanted to share it in the post, but I wasn't able to put into just write it down into words or something I had to sort of express, I guess, more verbally. Um, so, um, so, um, Something that I was really struck by, when I went to the Shiva, first of all, you get there and these very large death notices, just sort of extolling the virtues of Henny Machlis. Henny, first of all, I'm sorry, she was a person who I know a very little bit. I had been to their house maybe 2 or 3 times over the years for Shabbat meals. They had open Shabbatot, meaning that they would just, people like every Shabbat, like hundreds of people, hundreds of guests, just random people just come and just show up at their house and enjoy Shabbat meals. And it was it's one of the most spiritual, uplifting experiences of my life, was being in the Machlis home for those Shabbats. Just feeling all these Jews of different types together and feeling really, really the holiness of Shabbat together. But also, as I knew Henny a little bit because we were in the same chabura with Rabbi Nevin. But so when I got the Shiva, so I saw these big death notices, extolling like her virtues as this great woman, and also I'd read the article on Aish.com saying that Henny Machlis was one of the greatest Jewish women in the world, and it was so true. She was there's something so great about her, and so I came into the house, and just saw 100, maybe 200 people there. I think over the course of the Shiva, I'm sure that thousands of people came in to pay their respects. But what I was really so struck by in the house was that, sometimes you see women and they're just perfect. They give the impression of perfect. You look at them and they've got like the perfect sheitel and the perfect body and the perfect marriage and the perfect home and the perfect kids, all in a row, and dressed perfectly, and everything's just perfect. There's something sort of picture perfect about this person and their life, and Henny wasn't that. Henny was real. Like you looked at her, she looked real. Like you looked at her on a physical level, she didn't look perfect. She looked real. She looked warm and holy and real. You looked at her home, it didn't look perfect. It looked warm and holy and real. You looked at her life and like the various struggles that she had. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't this picture perfect life. It was warm and holy and real. And it's okay, and that's okay. Like that was just like the realization I had there was that there's not so much connection between the perfect, like the perfect image, like the perfect body and the perfect family and the perfect home and the perfect this greatness. Her greatness. There's not so much connection between greatness and that. You know, and that was just this overwhelming feeling because I feel like me, in my life, I feel like I'm constantly striving, so much striving with so many challenges, striving to be more perfect, striving for life to be more perfect, to finish everything I have to get done and get my house perfect and the kids perfect and my life perfect and, everything perfect, get everything perfect. You looked at, Henny, she died at the age of 58, and just things were not perfect. Like she finished, and still she's recognized as one of the greatest women in the Jewish world. And it wasn't because she'd achieved, because the sort of like the circumstances of her life and her surroundings and her home and her appearance and her and her family and everything in her life was perfect. What was perfect was her soul, and that she tried every day to take her next step in Avodat Hashem, her next step in serving Hashem. That every day she got up and said, Hashem, what do you want from me now? Hashem, I want to be together with you. I want to live my life with you. What can I do? I think that, so that was just so powerful for me. To see that, and I just want to say like a side note about like the women who look perfect, like the women with the perfect body and sheitel and family and home. but I think also underneath them, like underneath that, underneath the appearance of perfection are the struggles. Like all of us have that, and I think maybe that's why everyone could connect with Henny. It was because because all of us could connect with that, with the struggle, with the challenges, with the realness of her. That all of us could relate to that. The reason I wanted to talk about this is because after that I have a neighbor who's been going through a bit of a hard time. Just for the last few months, she's been in a bit of a funk, and she's got a beautiful family and a beautiful, all appearances, like there's nothing actually really wrong, right? So I told her the story. I told her sort of this impression that I had of Henny's greatness. And why? Why was it? It's because she was perfect on a spiritual level, but always trying and always trying to push herself a little bit more to serve Hashem and to do the right thing and to be together with Hashem in her life. But that the circumstances of her life were not so perfect. She didn't have like a perfect home and a perfect life and a perfect family and a perfect child and a perfect body and a perfect everything. She didn't. She was real. And so my friend was so struck by that. She said, I think this is my problem. I think this is why I'm in a funk now. Is because I'm looking for perfection. I'm always struggling for perfection, and I don't have it. It's something that I feel in my own life. I feel like constantly, like I feel like this sort of like I'm struggling, like I want perfection. I want perfection in everything. I want to have the perfect kids and the perfect marriage and the perfect home and the perfect life and the perfect home and perfect surroundings and perfect body and perfect everything. And it's not perfect. I'm not perfect. And that's okay. That's okay. Something I was I don't know if it's 100% connected, but something I once heard from Rabbi Niven, which really I found very, very calming, was the idea that we always hear it sort of like a cliche that it doesn't matter where you're holding, it doesn't matter how it doesn't matter like how good you are at something. It just matters that you're going up the ladder, that you're making progress, that you're slowly, no matter how slowly, that you're going up. It doesn't matter if you're not so good at davening, at speaking, refraining from speaking lashon hara, at being a good mother, as long as you're like slowly making your way up. But Rabbi Niven said something wonderful. He said actually it doesn't matter that you're actually going up the ladder. You're successful if you're trying to go up the ladder. That you're actually trying, that you're just trying. You're just trying. And you didn't succeed, you didn't get to this, you didn't get to that, and this isn't perfect, and this isn't perfect. This is even getting more perfect than it was yesterday. You still yelled at your kids, you still yelled at your husband, your house is still a mess, and there was nothing, you still have all these imperfect things in your life, and that's okay. You're still, because you're trying, like you're trying slowly to do it. You didn't succeed today, you didn't succeed this year. It's okay. You're trying. So I want all of us to remember that remembering, Henny and remembering Henny and remembering, I think that like a blessing which she can give to all of us is accepting that life is not perfect. Life is full of challenges, and life is challenging, and families are challenging, and we are challenging, and everything. Things are very challenging, and it doesn't matter. We can still attain that spiritual perfection of being with every morning waking up and saying, Hashem, what do you want from me? Taking your next small step in serving Hashem. What's the next right thing to do? So I want to bless all of you Jewish moms with an amazing, amazing week.